click. Got it. Thank you so very much. We also want to share our disclaimer. This session is intended to be informational and educational and does not constitute legal, medical, or financial advice. So please consult your legal, healthcare, or financial advisors for advice regarding your personal situation. AARP is not responsible for the consequences of any decision or action
Joyce,
taken.
the audio
Your audio is garbled for some reason.
It's garbled. Is it going in and
Now
out?
it's great.
Now.
It's great now.
That's
It's
good.
great now.
Did it come back?
Yes.
Okay, great. So can you hear me where it says AARP is not responsible for the consequences or any decisions or actions taken and reliance upon or as a result of the information provided during this event? Great. You guys, you got it?
Got it.
Now, let's turn to today's program. Andrew Broderick and Carla Sumala serves as co-directors for the San Francisco Tech Council and nationally unique multi-sector collaborative dedicated to bridging the digital divide for older adults and people with disability. Their work focuses on expanding digital access and literacy for these populations while ensuring the thoughtful design of technology and implementation truly serves the diverse needs of older adults and their caregivers. Recently, they co-authored the Digital Equity Plan for Older Adults and Adults with Disabilities in San Francisco and piloted an interactive patient portal training intervention to help older adults better manage their health care. Now, their experience also includes leading technology pilots to reduce social isolation and loneliness, developing inclusive digital literacy programming, and coordinating community-based technology support hubs that provide immediate individualized assistance in culturally and linguistically responsive settings. Wow, this is going to be a great, great meeting. Please welcome Andrew and Carla.
Thank you so much, Joyce, for the warm introduction. And it's great to see so many people here on the call today. Myself and Carla are going to talk to you about technology, but more specifically, technology that's designed for older adults to help them age at home and maintain their independence and quality of life through a lot of the solutions that we're going to kind of highlight for you as examples of what age tech is. And it's a very diverse and fast moving field, but we'll definitely try our best to get a good kind of overview for you with some good examples to illustrate that. So next slide, please, Carla. So what we see today, older adults are more connected than ever. And what we mean by that is that they are using technology more frequently and in a more regular basis. So 90% of adults who are 65 and older are regular internet users. Many of them are also nearly 3/4 using social media platforms like Facebook and YouTube. And then we also have a higher frequency of older adults who have more devices in terms of their everyday use. So they're using on average 7 devices. This includes everything from smartphones to computers, tablets, smart TVs. But on average, every individual will have at least, on average, 7 devices. So next slide, please, Carla. And so we're also living in an era of AI or artificial intelligence. And what we're seeing like in 2025, about a third or 30% of older adults have experimented with AI tools. And you may have heard of ChatGPT or Claude, Gemini, but those would be the examples of the tools that we're talking about in terms of AI use. And what we kind of understand also is like when older adults are looking at AI tools, they have very specific tasks that they want them to do. So one thing is they like to use these tools to help them kind of make sense of information like the news information and kind of synthesize that for them. They also like to help it do kind of more specific kind of tasks around kind of health information too is another area where they're using these tools. And on the next slide, Carla,
All right, it's coming.
coming.
There we go.
And we also see that in general, most older adults are very positive about technology and how it helps them in their life today. So about 73% of older adults say it makes their daily life easier. We also have a 62% say that technology helps enrich their life. So just kind of illustrating again, we have a lot of technology use. We see a lot of benefits in terms of the experience that older adults are having with using technology in their everyday life. And on the next slide, Carla. And so age tech is a category, let's call it a new category of technology. It includes products and services that use technology to help older adults live safely, manage their health and well-being, and stay engaged in daily life. And, you know, part of this issue we're seeing today is people are living longer. And one thing they're trying to do as we live longer is we're trying to stay healthier for as long as possible. And so really at this kind of end stage of our kind of life, you know, we look at also the health span, and technology is a way that we can enable us to achieve those goals. And so, as I mentioned, we have a lot of technology in our everyday life, but we're estimating that the kind of global market for age tech is about $279 billion in terms of the size and potential in terms of what technology can do for us. So next slide, Carla.
All right, folks, great to see you all this morning. A shout out to somebody in Richmond, California. You're my neighbor. And I saw somebody from Eureka. I'm headed up there tomorrow to see my youngest who's up at Cal Poly Humboldt. So great to have so many folks with us this morning. You may not know it, or you may not have realized when you jumped on this call this morning, but you are already a participant in Age Tech just by being on this call. And you are also quite likely to be an Age Tech participant because you own a smartphone. The most recent statistics by Pew Research Institute indicate that over 90% of older adults own smartphones. And that number, and that was 2023, it is likely higher by now. For all practical purposes, age tech really starts with your smartphone. And it's really your headquarters in a lot of ways when you're thinking about age tech in doing things, activities of daily life. It can do a ton of stuff. Many of these things you may not have even realized, but health monitoring from step counting, sleep tracking, it can maintain your health records, GPS, calling an Uber or Lyft, public transportation schedules, telehealth, using your patient health portal for all refilling medication, making an appointment, smart home management. Some of you may use it to manage your alarm or your thermostats. It also can help provide reminders. It keeps your calendar. If I didn't have my smartphone, I wouldn't know what I was doing for the rest of the day, to be perfectly honest. All of these kinds of things, and I'm not even getting into the entertainment aspect of it, games and videos and YouTube and social media. So we're going to start out with that kind of a lot of the things that are really focused on the smartphone piece. There are a lot of things that we can do with our smartphones every day that can make it easier. Maybe some of you do these things already, and maybe you have ideas that you can pop in the chat about things that you can do with your smartphone that make it easier. But here are a bunch of them that sometimes we don't even realize it can do. Hey Siri or Hey Google, remind me to call my daughter at 9:30 a.m. Hey Siri, do I have any appointments on Wednesday? Hey, here's a good one. Hey Google, where did I park my car? I've used that. Or if I'm walking around the house and my phone is out, or I'm even in the car, I can say, send a text to, and you can do it automatically. All kinds of great things that our smartphones can do to make life a little bit easier. Age tech also means accessibility.
My daughter tomorrow morning.
Oh, age tech can mean accessibility. Some of you may not realize, but your smartphone can do a whole bunch of things to make it easier to use. So you can make the font much, much larger, really big, in fact. There are magnifiers that are built into your smartphone. I find these really helpful when I'm looking at ingredients or labels. I've noticed lately that I cannot see the back of medicine bottles that I get from the store, and I'm trying to figure it out. My husband uses the flashlight every single time we're in a restaurant because he cannot read the menu when it's too dark. There are voice assistants and voice typing. It can be compatible with your hearing aid. There are screen readers and color contrasts. Your smartphone can also provide translation into other languages really, really quickly, and that is a real bonus for everyday life as well as for travel. I checked in terms of looking at the Apple iPhone, and Apple right now says that they have 32 accessibility features that are built into their phones. I don't even know what all of them are, but I put a couple of them here. So really, they are trying to make it easier for us, regardless of stage in life, to use these devices. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about current trends, like what's happening right now, and then we're going to move on in the second part of our presentation to emerging trends, some things that are a little further out there that you may not have seen or tried yet, but that are coming down the pike. So what's out there right now? What are people using? And here's some couple of terms that you may or may not be familiar with in the age tech world: wearables, voice first technology, and smart homes. And we're going to talk a little bit about what those are. So if you have no idea what any of those are, you are totally fine. We're going to go through them. Wearables. You may have some of these already. This is a little old school. These have been out for a long, long time. Medical alert pendants for emergency situations. I checked back, and from what I can tell, these first came out in the 80s. So these have really been around for a long time, and they are the very, very most basic sort of wearable around your neck, and you press the button. There are next level of wearables are really simple watches. So they also have an emergency help button, and they can also help people find you where you're at, or if you're lost, those kinds of things. So they have GPS tracking and location. So again, next level. Many of you may own some of these. Fitbit is a really popular brand, and they don't look as much. If you have one, you know that they're very, very narrow, but they can track your activity, steps, distance, heart rate, calories, all of those kinds of things. And they're very, in particular, focused on that sort of activity. There are new devices out there, and I don't know if you've seen these or if you have one yourself, but rings. This one's called the Aura Ring, and there are other brands out there, but this seems to be the most popular one on the market. And it looks kind of like a silver wedding band, and it tracks sleep quality, heart rate, body temperature, all of those kinds of things, and is designed to be used in conjunction with your smartphone. There are a couple of devices that are really now all in one, so that you don't have to buy a different kind of wearable or a little gadget to do each of these things. Apple watches and Galaxy watches can now do all of the things that I just mentioned. They can track heart rate, ECG, blood oxygen, activity, and sleep. I tried mine the other day, and I can actually, there's an app, I can check my blood pressure on my smartphone. They have automatic fall, I'm sorry, on your smartphone and your watch, automatic fall detection and emergency SOS, and it can call emergency services. So I called home, it was earlier this fall. I called and I was calling my mom just to say hi. And she said, "Hey, can I call you back? We're setting up my Apple Watch." She said, I got one, and and her friends were getting them because apparently they are really, really good at fall detection. And they automatically send out a call, and they have a contact list. And so this appears to be all the rage. And I was a little jealous because I said, "Mom, listen, I don't even have an Apple Watch yet." And she started laughing. She goes, "Well, I'll let you know how it works." And it's been a few months, and she has been enjoying it. Voice first technologies. These are speakers, and they come in, if you've noticed, if you have one, or if you've looked online at Amazon, they come in all kinds of interesting shapes. Some of them look like hockey pucks, some of them look like globes, some are cylinders, some look like a little bit of like a tablet that you set up on your counter. These are designed so that you don't even necessarily have to jump onto a smartphone or other device. You can set reminders, you can make calls or send messages. They can provide information. For example, what is the weather like today, or when is it supposed to rain next? You can call safety or emergency numbers. The one on the right is an interesting one that is voice first, and it's called LEQ. And it is designed to provide companionship as well as do some of these other things. So LEQ will actually have conversations with you. There was a large pilot in New York State that used LEQs as, with older adults, particularly those who lived alone. And it had pretty solid results. People tended to enjoy this voice first technology because it was simple to use, and they didn't have to do a lot of setup, or there wasn't a lot of learning to make it work. The next thing we're going to talk about is smart homes. This is really the biggest trend today for aging in place, to be able to stay in your own home or setting for as long as you can, and as safely as you can, and enjoy it for as long as you can. There are lots and lots of things that can be built into your home environment that make things easier. So we're going to go through some of those today and show you what some of them look like. So here's a living room, and it may look like a typical living room, but it's got a lot of smart features. They use the term smart for a lot of this stuff. I don't know if that's the best term to use, but things that are monitored, that turn off and on, or are monitored without you having to check all the time. So smart lights can go on and off when you enter a room, or make sure some lights go on in the evening, or things like that. Smart thermostats that keep steady temperatures in your home. Smart TV. What is a smart TV? Often they will have interactive ways that you can do interactive programs with others. And I realized that a lot of our televisions or TVs are smart. I was watching a movie the other day, and in some of the commercials, I could just order products on my regular TV. I was a little surprised, and I was starting to think that might be a little dangerous, because I just used my regular little remote, and it said, "We noticed that you like this makeup product, and it was from Amazon. Would you like to buy it on sale today?" And I thought, wow, I don't know, it's getting to be a little bit much. But yeah, that's part of being a smart TV. Smart speakers, like I just talked about. Kitchens are getting smarter. All right. They aren't making your food yet, unfortunately. When that happens, I'll be back on this show to tell you about it. But they do lots of things. Smart appliances, if you take on the left, a smart refrigerator can do all kinds of different things. Some of them can keep track of what you have inside and can let you know what you're getting low on and help you with grocery lists. Which is a really interesting thing. Some of the smart devices are a little older school and we've had for a while, like coffee pots and things like that, that we can program to turn on automatically, shut off automatically, that sort of thing. Some of the newer things here, like smart plugins, those help us monitor energy use or will turn devices off if we leave them plugged in. Again, an energy saving device. Smart cleaners, maybe the most popular brand out there is the Roomba. And you may have one, and they really have gotten smarter. They use AI technology to map out your house, and they know where to go. There are some new features that I've seen tested. They also mop your floor, and then they make their way back to their little station to recharge. So in the past couple of years, they have just made huge advances. Bedrooms are another key area for smart homes. Smart beds can do sleep sensors, like how much are you sleeping, if you movement patterns, or if someone hasn't moved for too long, it can send alerts. Fall detection, sometimes either in the floor or through sensors. That is a big one because bedrooms and bathrooms are often some of the key areas where people tend to fall. Air quality sensors that can monitor your air quality. And then there's a whole realm of bathroom technology, which we won't get into today, but again, motion sensors and different kinds of things like that. The last room, and this is where you may also have some of these sorts of things: security systems, video doorbells. These are parts of smart homes. And a lot of folks have these today. You may not think of them as building into a smart home, but they really are part of it. If you're on Nextdoor and you've seen all of the videos that people save of people who snatch packages and things like that, I think Nextdoor would be out of business without these videos outside in front of our doors. So that's just a snapshot. Now, when I looked at these, I don't know that I have most of them. I have the security system, and I've got a semi-smart door lock, a couple of smart appliances, but some of these sorts of things have just sort of made their way into my home over time. And I suspect that that's what may be happening with some of you as well. And there are some other things that may be worth trying in the future. I'm going to turn it back to Andrew to look at some of the emerging trends.
Thanks, Carla. And I think Carla did a really great job there, just showing how we're already using everyday technology we're very familiar with in our home environment and also just in our everyday life, so we can be more independent, we can be safe, we can take care of our health, and we can also stay engaged and connected with other people. This kind of January, I was at the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, which is a very big global show, all the latest gadgets and products you will ever see in one place. And big companies and all startup companies are there trying to showcase the latest innovations and technologies. And there's a big emphasis at that conference on age tech. In terms of some of the new products and categories coming out. And some themes that emerged at CES this year is the emphasis for the companies that were at CES was less on the hardware and more on the software. So we're seeing more solutions that are doing more data analytics, the ability to kind of do more personalized services using data, and then also the ability to kind of make things more proactive or preventative in terms of rather than reacting to a situation, we're able for our healthcare to understand maybe steps we can take now to prevent something from happening in terms of our kind of ongoing health management. And so, and like Carla had just indicated there, we're seeing in the smart home, like more technology is adapting to us rather than we're having to adapt to the technology in many ways. So here we're going to go showcase for you a number of companies that were at the Consumer Electronics Show this year, and just show, an example of what age tech means and how it's evolving from what Carla showed us earlier. So this company, Hibiscus Health, is based in New York. It has a platform that is using the camera on your phone to do a facial scan. And so basically, it's asking consumers to do that 30-second selfie using the camera on their phone, submit that to the company, and then the company will do an analysis of that facial scan. And really, what they're looking at is the facial blood flow in terms of like on your face, obviously, and just underneath your kind of skin, to basically analyze what your risk may be for blood pressure or cholesterol or triglycerides or even your A1Cs when it comes to diabetes. And they typically have about an 85% accuracy according to their website. But I think what they also do is once they conduct the scan and give you back your personalized results, they can also connect you with a coach or a consultant who can talk through with you what those results may mean and what kind of changes you might be able to make now in terms of diet or more activity, or maybe they might recommend kind of things that are a little bit more medical in terms of what you need to do. But it's an example again of using your consumer technology and helping you in a more preventative and kind of proactive way manage your health using facial scans. And on the next one, Carla.
All right, there we go.
This is a growing area, what we call robotic pets. And so we've had a number of companies that have come forward with robotic pets. This one is called Tombot, and it is based in Los Angeles and Southern California. And it really is targeted at individuals who have Alzheimer's or mild cognitive kind of dementia, and it's designed to look and feel like a 12-week-old Labrador puppy. And it has sensors embedded into the robotic pet that respond to touch and also voice of the human user. And through those sensors, the pet responds in very kind of natural ways. And so what the company is trying to do is also kind of build sensors into this product that would allow it to take some vital sign measurements like blood pressure, etc. But I think the main advantage that we see through the kind of robotic pets is it helps people in terms of their emotional companionship and kind of not feeling loneliness and kind of just being more connected on an emotional level. And it also, as I say, supports people with dementia or Alzheimer's. And, when I looked up on the company website, the founder started this company because his mother, when she had kind of early stage Alzheimer's, they had to take her pet away from her. And he saw a lot of the kind of challenges that she went through in terms of depression and kind of dealing with that loss. And so through that, he started this company and designed and developed this pet. So it's an example of what we call robotic pets. And you definitely will see other companies and examples of that in use today. So Carla, next one. I saw somebody put in the chat when Carla was talking about glasses and eyewear. And what we're seeing now in convergence with eyewear and AI and sensors is what we call kind of hearing glasses. And so, these glasses have microphones that are embedded in the kind of arms of the glasses, and it's able to help people who have hearing difficulties participate in conversations or discussions. And what happens is the voice of the people or person they're talking to is picked up by the sensor microphone. And then that is translated into closed captioning that appears on the screen or the kind of the lens of the glass. So they're able to actually, read what that person is saying if they're having difficulty hearing that person in terms of what they may be saying. So it's a great example of what we're seeing in what we call assistive technology. So this is really technology that helps people or assists people who have some barriers like low vision or poor hearing or could be mobility issues, but assistive technology. And this company, Sander, is based in Massachusetts. And I think it's a good example of, people have used hearing aids. This product can be used with hearing aids and kind of combined with them to work kind of in kind of unison. But it is another way of addressing the hearing problem that over nearly 1.5 billion people worldwide struggle with on a daily basis. So Carla, next one. And then this is another example of an assistive technology. And I don't know if people have ever heard of the term exoskeleton, but it really is like a mechanical skeleton that would fit across your body format. And you may see it in industrial or medical situations, to really help people with kind of extra strength, extra power, extra lift. And this company is called Skip with Joy. Their first product is Mogo, and they have a partnership with the clothing company Arc'teryx. And so what this company came out of Google Ventures. So it's a Google company. It was spun out and it started up. What they saw was a need to help people with mobility challenges. And so, I myself personally have, I can feel as I'm aging, my knee is getting, more painful and it's more challenging to go upstairs or if I'm going up elevated kind of inclines in terms of kind of treks or hikes that I may be doing. And so this product would be a good solution to that. And so what they've tried to do is build in this kind of mechanical support into the clothing. And then it allows people, as I say, when they're going walking or climbing, it gives them that extra boost in leg strength and support around the knees so they're not putting too much strain or effort on it. And it allows them then to enjoy being outdoors and participating in activities that they enjoy doing with other people without the physical and painful discomfort that may come without this kind of support. So next slide. And this is a company that is based in New York. It's called Discover Live. And it's a fascinating example of doing something really simple, but really kind of providing great benefit for people. So this is basically you can travel anywhere in the world. You can have live kind of guide in whatever city or location you're going to visit. And they will do a walking tour and a guided tour that's going to happen in real time using Zoom. And so you can participate using your tablet or your phone, and you can participate as a group and just do walking tours of cities or historical sites like the pyramids in Egypt or heritage trips in terms of some very kind of far-reaching places that at the beginning of this call, people were talking about cruises and people being on cruises at the moment. And this is a great way to be able to travel without actually having to travel physically and go across time zones and the expense of all that. They do also have they have a partnership with Ancestry. So people who are doing those genetic ancestry genealogy tests, They have hooked up with Discover Live to help people go to the places where their genealogy it kind of connects them back to in terms of where they came from, so they can actually go on guided tours and see where their ancestors came from and what kind of environment and kind of cultural and historical kind of facts may be there for them to discover. And on the next one, Carla. This is another example of a assistive technology using robotics, and it is called the Labrador system. And so this again is an example of the founder who started this company. Basically saw when his mother moved to using a walker, he saw that she was using her arms as another pair of legs. And this gave him the kind of insight moment to think, well, maybe I should build an assistive technology with my robotic skills. And the Labrador Retriever is an example of a personal robot in the home that can act like an extra pair of hands. So it helps with lifting, moving, and elevating, to the height that you may need without having to go again through a lot of the physical discomfort or challenges that you may have. And so it fosters that independent living by delivering, retrieving items around the house. And as you can see, the little schematic of the map there, it's able to kind of move around. It's also able to map your home environment and in some ways kind of better understand, the living environment in which you are and kind of gradually, conduct tasks that would be more supportive of your independence in that environment. And the next one, this is a Everex. This will be our last company example, but I think it's again another good example using our smartphone, using AI, using the camera. We've all suffered injury or we've had some need for physical therapy. And I think one of the challenges that we have with physical therapy, it's great when we go to the physical therapist's office and we get that one-on-one support and kind of instruction about how we can conduct exercises. This tool is to help between visits. And so it's really to help you stay engaged and it helps your physical therapist be able to track your progress. So it's kind of connected back to the provider and they will give you exercises to do. And like you would have your phone camera basically filming you, and then it would be mapping you using the software on the app. But then they're able to kind of instruct you in terms of the rotation and the exercises that they want you to do. Make sure you're accurately following those, but they're also able to track your progress over time and see that you're making progress with your recovery and your rehabilitation. And so in the United States, under Medicare, you have reimbursement for some medical services. And one of the medical services under Medicare you can get reimbursed for is remote therapeutic monitoring, or RTM. And this service would be covered under the RTM. So if any of you are receiving physical therapy, maybe you can ask your provider whether this kind of service is something that they support in their office and whether you would be able to use it in your ongoing kind of physical therapy. And it would be reimbursed then for the provider. So it would be a kind of no cost for them to be able to provide that. And so, Carla, that's it. We're just giving examples there of different ways that, our personal devices, AI and robotics and sensors are all integrated and continue to evolve in this space. So back to you, Carla.
And I would like to say we are not getting kickbacks from these companies. We don't actually know people at these companies, to be perfectly honest. Maybe I should have let them know. Andrew and I should have called them up and said, but so just as a disclaimer, these are just companies that are getting a lot of attention and tend right now to be getting some positive feedback. And we just wanted to feature sort of what's some of the latest in this technology. But for those of you who are wanting to or thinking about getting started with age tech, we have some tips, good common sense things to think about as you're looking at some of these products. And the most important thing with technology is not to start with technology. Start with where you are at. What is it that you need or want? What's your goal? So instead of seeing a piece of technology and saying, oh, that's really cool, that can lead to a lot of expensive purchases for devices or products that you don't use. So what is it that you need or want most? Is it staying safer at home? Is it managing your medications? Is it monitoring your health? And really getting kind of specific about what would make your life better. The next thing is start with what you have. So before you buy anything, go out there and take a look at what your devices are and what they already do. Can any of them help you achieve your goal? And to take a look at that. Keep it simple. Look for tech that is easy to use and easy to set up. This is so critical. A lot of people, and you may be one of those people, I know it's happened to me. I bought stuff because I thought it was going to be great, and then I do not have the time or patience to set it up and use it. Make sure it works with what you already have. All right. So if you have some devices that are working well, your smartphone, your tablet, your whatever it is, make sure that what you're getting plays well with what you have when you're making a purchase. The last thing, money. Make sure nothing is free, and if it sounds too good to be true, it is absolutely too good to be true. Look at the total cost. Some of them have monthly subscriptions. Some of them require additional equipment. So make sure you know how much money you are putting down to get that product that you think you are getting, and ask all the questions you need to ask. For our very, very last final thoughts, 60% of older adults feel that tech is still not designed with their age or needs in mind. Now, this is frustrating because 124 million people are 50 plus today in the United States. That's 1 in 3. So we need to make our voices heard. If your tech is not working for you, complain. Tell those companies, call them up and say, this is not working for me. This is a problem, and to get the word out, because we need companies to work with older adults and not just design from afar and then send stuff our way. That's all she wrote. We thank you for your patience and attention today, and we'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Wow, thank you so much. That was great. Great information. I don't know if you paid any attention. I was sitting there and writing down some information so that I can kind of remember it really quick. But let's go over some of the quick questions that we have. Jacqueline, what do we have?
Ooh, I have a lot of questions myself. But this is a wonderful presentation, very informative. So one of the questions we have says, hard to get doctor appointments for specialists. How useful and how safe is use of AI for medical feedback, or can this backfire? With AI getting to know your background.
Oh, that's an amazing question, and it is so relevant because people are using AI more and more every day. Here's the short answer. AI can be amazing, and it can also backfire. So a couple of quick things. It is a good place to start in terms of looking at different kinds of things. If you're putting in symptoms or things like that, but it is no replacement for medical professionals. And also you want to be very careful about putting it's called PII is the short, personally identifiable information on to any of like ChatGPT or Claude. What does that mean? Don't put your full name or last name. Do not put your address. Never put your social security number. Do not put your member ID. So make sure, like for I have Kaiser as my insurance, but I don't know what yours is. Make sure you're not putting that kind of information out there, and start and start small, and verify is the main thing when you're looking at that. So yes, good idea, but be careful and don't put too much and don't put personal information.
I would just add, Jacqueline, traditionally we've gone to a search engine like Google and we've searched up information, and now we see there's an AI summary provided
Mhm.
there. And what they've learned about that also is that people don't go to the website anymore. Like they used to go to the Mayo Clinic, or they go to, a website they would trust for real medical information. And so they just take the AI summary as fact. So again, I think that's something to be cautious about, like, not just stopping at the AI summary, but maybe actually checking out some of those online websites, because traffic is actually declining in terms of visits to kind of websites as a result of AI in search engines. So.
I can see that. Yeah. Next question. Thank you very much for that answer. Would any of these helpful devices be covered by health insurance?
That depends. So, I think if they're, you could probably get a lot of devices that would be covered maybe under some durable medical equipment. Like you could have a look, but you'd want to check out each company's website just to see if their product or service can be reimbursed under the kind of existing kind of insurance kind of plans, whether it's Medicare or it's a private insurer, and they will usually put information on their website to help with that. But I would just say overall, you probably need to look at a health savings or a flex savings account to kind of get reimbursed if you buy some of these over-the-counter kind of products or services that might be eligible. You'd
I was
want
just
to.
gonna add, Andrew, I know that Xander glasses, we did actually have a conversation with them, and it looks as if they had set up some initial programming with veterans
Mm,
organizations, and so some of those costs were being covered. So sometimes, especially when they have direct healthcare outcomes like the glasses or hearing or mobility, they are more likely to be covered.
yeah.
Thank you. We have a question that says, can smartwatches be configured to call emergency services in foreign countries when you're traveling?
Wow, that's a
That's
good
a
one.
good question.
That
Mm,
one's a good one. I'm going to have to check AI with that one. And I think here's what I would say is it depends on the country that you're in and how it's hooked up when you're there. Baron says, no, they can't. And I found that what I found is that I was in Europe for a month a year ago, and every country was a little bit different. And so I would not depend on that while you are traveling abroad. Because like I said, it is variable, and it is not the most reliable way of reaching out to emergency services in a foreign country.
Okay. Andrew, that's okay. I just wanted to make
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Um, One question, all of this iPhone stuff, I'm quoting, presupposes, where did it go? It keeps flickering. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, my chat is flickering for some reason. And okay, okay. Um, LADWP has a product called, hold on. I'm so sorry. Okay, I was on one. Oh, where's the one about LADWP? I didn't get the name of the product. There's a lot of compliments on this. A
All
lot
right.
of, I've used this and I haven't used this. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, here's
Let me,
one. I found one. Jacqueline says, does the iPhone check blood pressure or just the watch? Actually, there is an app on my phone that does check, and you press your finger over the flashlight
mm-hmm.
and it does it. I don't know if it's the most accurate, but I have tried it, and I tried it with my dad as well, and it gave pretty decent readings. And in a pinch, it's not a bad idea.
So Jacqueline, were you asking about the LADWP and the product in the chat was Flume?
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah. To monitor. So I'll let you kind of do you want to kind of restate the question, Jacqueline? Or
No, you can go ahead and answer it. I can't,
okay.
my thing is flickering. I'm sorry.
Okay, so the question was about a product called Flume, which monitors water usage, not expensive,
There it is.
can let you know if there's unusual activity and monitor your usage. Pretty impressive communication with their staff and product, and you attach it to your water meter. So I personally don't have experience with it, but I think someone had asked the question before that, looking for a water running sensor that can distinguish between leaving a faucet on and a cat's water fountain, which I think is right. In that ambient kind of monitoring, finding products that can distinguish between different sounds that may be similar, but, different kind of alerts.
All right.
Thank you for that.
Mhm.
Well, one of the ones, all this iPhone stuff presupposes that a senior has the physical and cognitive acuity to be able to access apps and absorb the data and collect it. Um, are there things that we can do about that? How can a senior work or a person who needs this accessibility, how can they work with that? Because a lot of assumptions are made.
Right. I think that's a great point. That's where the voice first technologies tend to be used most frequently. Um, and they've been tested, piloted in a lot of congregate living or and assisted living communities for older adults who have often mobility issues or dexterity issues or memory kinds of things or other kinds of challenges. And those tend to be the easiest entry point where you can just ask for information without having to dial. Now, there are some best practices along that with sometimes like a piece of paper right next to the device, like a little card that helps remind you the things that you can ask or you can say. For example, what is the weather like today? Maybe like 3 questions on that card. So yeah, there are entry points. Another entry point are simplified tablets. There's a company out there called GrandPad, GrandPad, that is has a much larger screen. It looks like a tablet, has only 4 options, and it is designed especially for people age 75 and over. So their biggest user group are people typically in their 80s, and those address some of those kinds of issues.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
I don't know if you can really answer this one, but one of the questions, why are setup requirements often concealed inside the device boxes rather than online? Example, Simply Safe doorbell needs a chime, but even if it comes with the home security installation.
That's a great question. And one of the things, my workaround on that is that I look up the instructions online because they typically have them on the websites. And this is a good place to use AI. I type in like on ChatGPT, what is the precise setup steps for Ring, and you give the exact version and ask for simple and that's a great way to see it before you go in. It's like, what do I need to be able to set this up? That's a great use of AI, at least as a great way to get started. I use it for that all the time to figure things like that out.
And I think, it brings up a good point about customer service. I think when you're looking at a lot of these products and age tech, kind of really do, as part of your due diligence, try to see what do they have as customer service support, because, there's many examples that companies fail because they just never really have that in place. And so when people try to work out how to set up the product or you integrate it into what they already have and they can't do it on their own, there's no one there to help them. So I think that's a key point as well. And just to kind of be a little flippant, a lot of these products are designed by engineers who don't really kind of think about customers, you know. So they get the product out there, and then it's like, you know, it's like the remote control, you know, for the TV, you know.
Yeah,
Engineer
yeah.
conceived it, but you know, yeah. So.
Right. Well, thank you for that. Joyce, we're going to turn it back over to you, even though I have found several more questions.
You
Finally.
know, we're gonna have to have you come back. There's just no way that you're gonna go out this way because there's just so many questions and people are still excited. But for right now, thank you, Andrew, Carla, and Jacqueline. Andrew and Carla, think about coming back again. Jacqueline, we got this, all right? All
Yeah,
right, so join us next month for Tea and Coffee Tuesday on April the 14th for our next program, where
great.
we will talk about today's scam playbook. In this upcoming session, we'll be joined by our two AARP fraud fighter volunteers who will share how modern scam works and emotional trick scammers and use to give good tips on how to spot red flags and stay safe.